This is going to be a new thing where I'm going to do the fancy thing and chug a beer. Wait, no. The frat boy thing. Shotgun or chug a beer and then do a highbrow, highfalutin, fancy tasting of whatever I just chugged. So, with that in mind, today we are going to be chugging Dogfishhead 120 Minute IPA. I don't know how much you know about it. It's an Imperial IPA that is 18% alcohol by volume. These ones are from, looks like February 30th and August of 19, and this is February of 20. So a couple different years. You'll find that when you take a high IBU, high hopped IPA and age it for a year or two, it tends to dissipate. But now if you get into the doubles and triple IPAs, the hops may dissipate, but you're left with a lot of that malty sweetness. So the beer profile changes quite a bit. I'm using something that I saw on Fat Kid Deals to chug this. It's got a little hose, so it's like a little mini beer bong. This is going to be a lot, and I may throw up while doing it, and this video may never see the light of day. We'll see. Thank you to Hish for this super cool bottle opener. I'm a big fan. It's like a plain thing. So I'm going to shotgun the 2019 one. Try to get most of this bubbles out. Go straight to the top. All right. If I throw up, I'm very sorry. So let's go ahead and get this down, and then we can move on to the fancy bit, which I know is what you're all waiting to hear about how super awesome fancy I am. So bottoms up. Cheers. Down the hatch. All right. I'm going to close this out so I can move back inside. I didn't want to do it inside in case I did spit beer all over the place. And I'll record the second bit in just a little bit. I'm not going to pour the whole thing in right now because honestly, for tasting, you don't always need the whole thing poured. I'm going to drink the whole thing. Don't get it wrong. I'm definitely going to drink the whole thing. But for the tasting, this is about all we need. Now, I do love these snifter style glasses. It allows you to really get your nose in there and get a good smell of it. Those of you that drink whiskey or anything fancy whiskey bourbon stuff, you'll understand the point of that, and anyone that drinks fancy beer also understands that you need some of these kinds of glasses to really funnel in that scent into your nose. We're going to go ahead. I'm actually work from home right now. Don't tell my boss, but so I'm keeping an eye on my work computer as well. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. I wanted to share, and we'll see if I can figure out this share screen. This one, yeah. So I've never used StreamYard before, but this website says it's the 5 steps to proper beer tasting. Now, I've done my own beer tastings before at places, and they've guided me through it. But then I'm just going to walk you through it. I'll probably do this every single time because I drink a lot of beer and I don't always remember everything. So you always want to take a look at your beer and see. Your eyes, your nose, and your taste buds, you can't go anything, whatever you're tasting. Food, alcohol, wine is also alcohol, but it's known for tasting. Anything that all your senses are involved with, you want to make sure you just engage all of them. And you don't want to pour a beer completely without any head, because you don't want to have too much excess CO2 in there. You want to let some of it release, and it helps some of the flavors and scents kind of like boil out of it at the same time. So there, vision, smelling, and then the way I've always done it and what it says here, take a little sip. Swirl it around a little bit. It allows the full flavor profile of whatever you're drinking to kind of coat the inside of your mouth. And that's where you're going to get most of your flavor from. It also warms it up a little bit, which also releases more of the wonderful flavors that you're looking for. So I'm going to walk through this real quick. It says, fully appreciate beer has to offer. You got to do more than just drink. I totally agree, but often I just drink them. So pour it into a glass, look at it, look at the color, look at the body of it. Like, does it look super clear? Or does it have a little bit of haziness to it? Because a lot of beers are unfiltered and a lot of them are filtered. So, the clarity of whatever you're doing has nothing to do with color. You'll see if it's been heavily filtered or not. Just like with wine, swirl, smell, all that kind of stuff, really release those scents, which are going to be ingrained and going into your nose, and you're going to smell all of it. This one definitely smells very malty, as I mentioned before. After it's been aged, the hop profile is much more slimmed down, but what you get instead is like this kind of like rich malty sweetness. And the body is definitely thicker. You'll tell whenever you're drinking anything that's on the lighter palate, color, and all that kind of side, as opposed to, like, obviously stouts and porters are going to have a lot more thickness and body to them, but this has a lot of body for an IPA, and that's given the fact that it is a double IPA and very high in alcohol. So what I get is a lot of sweetness out of it and a slight amount of hop still on the back end. So with like doubles and triple IPAs, they hop them so much that even after a year, you can still pick up on some of that. If you take a standard American IPA, 7.5%, 85, 90 IBU IPA, you're going to not taste as much of it after a year. With doubles, triples, and even like quads, any sort of beer, once you get in double, triple, quad, what they use to make it is always going to be more prevalent for longer. So this says, when you sip, try to breathe in some air through your mouth in an almost slurping manner. I've never really been able to pull that off. I'm going to try to do it right now. Wow. The reason I've never really been able to do that is because I breathe in like any of the head or foam into the back of my throat. That's a me problem, but it really does, the air, as it says right here, helps bring the flavors out more. And then you swallow, of course. We're not going to do any like spitting it out or anything else. So really, that's the basics of it. So when I into this, I get a lot of malt profile off of that, a ton of malt profile off of that, and it's very rich in it. That's really the main flavor, I suppose, and also just like the strict alcohol. But the malt profile is very strong. Very boozy. Like I said, this is 18%. So you're going to get a lot of booze off of it. And that's just the nature of the beast. I'm going to do some in this series that are a little bit more geared towards session and just even lighter stuff and some sours and things. But I've decided if I'm going to do this other additional bit to our podcast, I want to kick it off with something a little bit stronger, just, for the giggles. It's very boozy. There's not, in my opinion, I've drank this beer many, 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 many times. There's not a lot of other side flavors going on to me. I've always gotten booze, and if drinking fresh, hops. And I still get some hops off of this, but a lot of hops if you drink it fresh. I definitely recommend, you can age a double IPA like this a little bit longer, but I definitely recommend drinking it fresh because you get a real strong hop flavor profile. And I really think with the over maltiness, because anytime you make something that's in the 18, 20, 25 plus percent ABV range, you're going to end up with something very malty. So the hops are a good counterbalance to that. This beer will stay better longer than some of your standard, just regular American IPAs or even session IPAs or anything along those lines. But really, once you've aged this, it's more along the lines of a barley wine type of thing. I love barley wine, so that's not a downside to me. But if you love IPAs, you haven't had this, and you don't like barley wines as much, you find one, check the date on it. If it's within the last couple months, I say buy it and drink it immediately. It's one of my go-tos, strong ABV. You can really get yourself messed up on it, but most people will sip through one and be good to go. So this is the end of this episode of the Go Beer Here Pod Special Edition. Let me know what you think. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. And if you have any beers that you want to see me shotgun or chug, and then also do a fancy beer tasting of, drop a comment below and let me know what it is. I'll try to find it. If I can't find it, I will try to find something similar that I do get. I live in Gainesville, Florida area, so we have a pretty good beer distribution range, but we don't get everything, obviously. So if you want to look at Total Wine in Gainesville and see what they have and something that you've had, drop it in the comments. I'll go buy it. I'll make another one of these recordings, and if it's in a can, I'll shotgun it. If it's in a bottle, I'll use my little Fat Kid Deals Son of Kong beer chugging thing. Thanks for watching, and as always, cheers.